or discussions point forward. At the end of the presentation, we'll have a Q&A session and an interactive discussion on this topic, and we'll look forward to getting your questions and getting those answered. So I'm going to hand over to my colleague, Rod Mackenzie, to start off with the objectives and agenda for the presentation, and then Paul and Rod will also introduce themselves and kick off the webinar. So thanks again, everyone, and I hope you enjoy the presentation. Rod, you are on mute.
Thanks, Monica. Mute was the only problem having it, the slides wouldn't move forward, but here we go. So good afternoon, everybody. I'm Rod Mackenzie. I'm the technical manager at Optimal. I've been here for a few months now, and I'll be leading the start of the presentation. Paul, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure, yeah, Paul Myers. So I'm strategic consultant with Solutions PT and working very closely with Optimal.
Thanks, Paul. So today's objectives is to promote an understanding of how you can use health to assist with plant maintenance backlog, promote planned maintenance interventions based on accurate data. So knowing what you need to fix first to maintain business continuity and prioritize your backlogs. So a quick introduction, an introduction between Solutions PT. We'll go through some of the problems facing operators that we see, an insight video, so a little bit slides about decision making and how it does work. Bit about AI, etc. So we'll just crack on. Optimal, we've been around now since 2015. Established in Aberdeen, we've now got a South African subsidiary, which deals predominantly in mine. Optimal's got a team of asset management reliability experts with domain knowledge of the full asset life cycle. So we're multi-sector experts in the field of asset management, and with particular focus on complex enterprise asset data management, solutions, and reliability engineering. We work with Aberdeen University, Robert Gordon's University, and Swansea University of Technology in South Africa, developing different programs in the knowledge transfer partnership. We're engaged in projects in the oil and gas, mining, nuclear sectors, and many others. You can see from the slide, our clients are very varied. We've got many different partners with different areas of expertise, the universities, and quite a fair bit of accreditations. Our core values within Optimal are pioneering excellence in people. You know, we are passionate about bringing innovative technologies and methods to our clients and help you improve the way you do things. We engage with our clients to ensure that the solutions provided by us deliver excellent results and meet and in fact, supersede clients' needs and expectations. But people are our biggest asset, and we work together to form partnerships built on trust and commitment. So our mission is enabling physical asset owners to extract the maximum value from their assets. Paul, you want a quick talk through solutions? And
sure. I hope everybody can hear me okay. So a little bit about Solutions PT. We were established in 1985, and we help customers improve industrial operations and deliver business value through implementing software that we distribute, particularly the Wonderware product set and additional products from Aviva. We're headquartered in Cheadle. We have been the UK and Ireland distributor for Wonderware for over 25 years, and we have around 30,000 Wonderware licenses installed. We've been partnered with Schneider Electric for many years. Schneider Electric are a major shareholder of the Aviva Group, and Aviva is a FTSE 100 company established in 1967, about 4,500 employees worldwide. They have the broadest asset performance management portfolio in the industry, and they recently purchased OSI to bring the OSI products as key members of their portfolio. Aviva are recognized as an APM industry leader and endorsed by the companies that you can see below. Okay, so Solutions PT and Optimal. Optimal is one of 5 Aviva certified asset performance management SIs in the UK, and they were appointed for their industry knowledge, expertise, and delivery capability. Optimal and Solutions PT have been working closely together since early 2020. And Aviva and Solutions PT recognise that Optimal's mission of enabling physical asset owners to extract maximum value from their assets aligned very strongly with both the Aviva Asset Performance Management product objectives and Aviva and Solutions PT's own objectives. Optimal's team are fully trained on the APM applications from Aviva. They've established their own APM demonstration facility and development environments and provide webinars such as the one that you're seeing today. Optimal provide first-line APM support to customers backed up by Solutions PT and Aviva. Thank you, Rod.
All right, thanks a lot, Paul. Let's get into the meat of what we want to discuss today. So we conducted a recent poll on LinkedIn, which revealed that 69% of the respondents believed that machine condition was a major factor on decision-making when dealing with your backlog. Operators are facing increasing backlog challenges. Over the COVID timeline, restrictions in travel and testing have meant that the backlog list has increased because you couldn't get vendors to site to deal with the work scope. So how do you deal with your backlog? A few questions for you. What is your most critical asset that needs maintenance? Do you really know what that is? To keep your business optimal. Would knowing the overall equipment condition allow you to prioritize work fronts? Well, certainly the 69% of respondents believe it does. Do you have aging plant that's not equipped to send health information to a central point? But certainly in the North Sea, there's quite a lot of that equipment out there. Do you have data in many different formats, which takes prolonged timescale to collate and understand the data? Do you have the staff to collate all the data and perform analysis? Perhaps not. People are very busy. So it's a quick video now to show you what Aviva Insight can do for you.
Smarter decisions are the driving force behind improved asset reliability and operational performance. But today's complexities make reaching those decisions increasingly difficult. You and your teams need to collaborate from anywhere on any device, which means operations data must be easily accessible by everyone for analytics and better decision-making. Aviva Insight gives you the power to simplify the complex. It combines Aviva's leading operations management and asset performance technologies into one easy-to-use cloud-based solution. Use it to provide access to real-time critical information from multiple sources in seconds. You'll create a single source of truth that enables greater collaboration between workers and gain efficiencies that reduce downtime. You can apply predictive and prescriptive analytics for better asset reliability, discover opportunities for production improvements, and streamline compliance. Aviva Insight puts complete visibility of your operations and asset performance at your fingertips. It delivers the actionable information and AI capabilities you need to increase operational agility and resilience while driving sustainable growth. And it's a cost-effective, future-proof solution that's up and running in minutes. See how quick and easy it is to get started with Aviva Insight. Sign up for a live demo now and simplify the complex with a free 45-day trial of Aviva Insight today.
Okay, thanks for that, Monica. Somebody waiting in the lobby, if you could let me in, please. So informed decision making, as you saw from there, there is a puzzle to be solved. And collaborative working with data all in one place makes completing the puzzle an awful lot easier. You can have your information all joined up and available anywhere you want to do it. So how does it all work? Most people have got CMMS data, a PI historian, not necessarily PI, but some historian where you've got all your information. You've got operational data, CBM data, backlog dates, and walk-around data, all in different areas. So how do you store and use all this? Generally, it goes into company servers, desktops, and folders, and sometimes that's exactly where it stays. It's very difficult to look at it and understand what's going on. But with Aviva Insight, all those items of data can feed into Insight on a regular basis, depending on how you set up and how you collect your information. Inside Insight, artificial intelligence will help us analyze what you're looking for and give you the information on your machines, which can be viewed anywhere, enabling collaborative working no matter where you are. So it's on your laptop, your tablet, or your mobile phone. You can all be, wherever you are, looking at the same information and having collaborative, constructive conversations. Paul?
Yeah, that's all very well for equipment that's connected to your networks, but what about stranded and unconnected assets? Traditional ways that we've collected data over the years often involve things like clipboards with charts, lots of columns, data that people need to fill in. And these documents often get smudged or torn or lost over time, making some of the data illegible. Once the sheet is completely filled out, it's often filed away or left in a pile of sheets on a desk somewhere and still gets lost over a period of time. And we call this technology lost, piled, or filed information. And what this means is that it's very difficult and very inefficient to access the data to do any kind of preventive or proactive maintenance. And so our term for this is the LPF, lost, piled, or filed work process. A lot of industrial businesses today are still relying on those kind of processes with lost efficiencies, increased downtime, and so on. But we'd like to show what happens if you put in a system that gathers that data much more efficiently. Next slide, please, Rod. Aviva have a product called Mobile Operator, which fills the gaps in non-instrumented equipment data. Much of the stranded asset data can be captured, trended, reported, and actions can be determined from real data. And post-mortem and root cause analysis exercises can be easily undertaken. Next slide, please, Rod. So a Mobile Operator addresses several industry challenges. The operator rounds, where the operator is going around and making inspections, digitizing the work into an easy mobile application on a rugged, intrinsically safe device if required. Starting at the top of the screen and going round in a clockwise direction, we can see that mobile operator rounds has been used for training new technicians and field workers on their routine duties and the rounds around the plant, and has the ability to check that rounds have been completed and check and measure other statistics taken during the round. Mobile Operator has integration to many data historians, including our own packages such as the Wonderware platforms or OSI Pi, so that the field collected information can be combined with the historical information using configurable timestamping options to meet the business and process needs. Being able to capture the process data from non-instrumented field assets, delivering that data to the historian to be used and evaluated in context alongside the information that's already been gathered, allows the process engineers to respond to incidents and plan operations with all the information that they require. Next slide, please, Rod. So if we look at the mobile operator system, it's just running in the background here, showing how an operator on a round might select a device, communicate with the device, identify that device correctly, and then carry out some tasks about it. The ability to create decision trees instead of linear static questions gives a lot more flexibility so that the operator can make decisions about things within parameters. They can collect information about the equipment, deal with exceptions, perhaps record location history on mobile assets, this kind of thing, and also be involved in the safety procedures so that isolation or lockouts can be properly documented and viewed on screens and so on and logged away. Then the mobile operator system allows you to integrate with the CMMS or EAM system, so that your connected workers out in the field can create work order notifications without having to go back to a central control room or an office. They're able to create those requests from the field at the point and time of the incident with perhaps much better quality information about that incident. And then that data can be used as parts of triggers in the system for where exceptions occur so that other actions can be taken automatically, semi-automatically, or on demand. Thank you, Rod. Next slide, please. So mobile operator operates whether you have a wireless or cellular coverage. So stranded asset data can be captured and stored even in a disconnected environment. So your operators can collect that data and have it uploaded as soon as they're back on the network. Mobile operator also is a best practice tool for outside work for operator rounds, for inspections and other activities that might require information capture, as well as information and knowledge sharing and training in the field. And you can see some of the functions there around that kind of clock face around the mobile device. And this system is already in use in the companies that you see on the right-hand side there, helping to deliver better efficiency and maximum uptime for those companies. Next slide, please, Rod. On this screen, we can see 6 what we call native Insight use cases for the data that can be fed into Insight. So first one on the top left, we have search-based navigation. So people don't necessarily need to know their plants in great detail to be able to find their way around it. They can simply enter a search string as you would into an internet browser. We can provide standard dashboards, which are built in a semi-automated way as the system is commissioned. So those can be populated for general use, and then particular groups within the business or particular operators or engineers can have their own custom dashboards as well. We can integrate through BI integration with ERP systems, HVAC systems, safety systems, and other systems that you might have in your environment, and both present that data in the Insight dashboards, but also share data back to those systems to help in the planning and operation of the plant. We have asset condition monitoring, where we can see the trends of what's been going on around the asset through the data that's been collected. We can respond to conditions, set up conditions, as you hear in a few moments, to respond in an automated way to conditions in the plant. And we have OEE analysis using the standard OEE charts and calculations, which you can customize for your own purposes. Perhaps most importantly, in this age of digital transformation, we have several levels of artificial intelligence built into Insight, which we're going to explain to you now. Next slide, please, Rod. So the additional analytics that we can provide in Insight are very useful for different use cases and personas. So we have 5 types of actions that can be taken out of the analytics in Insight. So we have reactive responses, we have condition-based responsive, predictive, prescriptive, and then prognostic methods. And the way that this works, if we look at the green segment on the screen, first of all, we can have condition-based rules where your best engineers and operators can help you in setting out the conditions on the plant, which when they occur, mean that you need to take certain types of actions. And you can make those actions semi-automated, for example, sending an email or a text message out to an engineer, or fully automated, perhaps sending a message to the maintenance system to automatically create a work order to schedule some maintenance, or perhaps communicating out to another external system. Then we have automated analytics, where the system sits in the background looking at all the parameters that you've configured into it for your plant process measurements. It can detect anomalies in those measurements and then flag up those anomalies to operators and engineers in what we call news feeds. It's a bit like if you've got a news feed on your mobile phone, you might have a piece of information from BBC News, for example. You can click on that, view it, and say whether it's interesting or not. Very similar principle here. So we have automated analytics going on in the background that learns from the responses from the operators and engineers. Above that, we have guided analytics, and guided analytics uses it's listening to multiple variables and looking at combinations of anomalies across those multiple variables. And again, it gives output in terms of news feeds, but can also take the semi-automated or fully automated actions out the back. Both the automated analytics and the guided analytics are what we call non-supervised artificial intelligence. And by non-supervised, we mean that they're self-learning. You turn them on as soon as you commission the plant. the system will start learning, and within a couple of weeks will have built up a lot of information about the plant. You can also, if you want to, load in retrospectively historical data from many of the plant historians out there, so that the system, even though you're only commissioning it today, might work from, say, the last year or 2 years worth of data to understand what is normal operation for the plant. Above our self-learning systems, we have advanced analytics, and in that we have more operational interaction for the engineers and operators, where we're looking for them to help tune the learning that's going on. So that's full-blown predictive analytics, and that can give us the kind of functions that you see there. So for all of our customers, we're able to offer 4 different types of artificial intelligence, depending on their applications and how their plants are designed and the kind of issues that they meet. Okay, next slide, please, Rod. So we talked quite a lot about this already, about the AI. Because we're using a cloud-based system, it gives us a lot of different analytics formats, as we've just been discussing, but we're unlocking the data from the source, whether it's from your existing historians or the plant system or the enterprise systems that you have. And what this means is that it's what we call democratized data. That means that we have a lot more people who can collaborate and get involved with that data, but also we can make a lot more use of the artificial intelligence to that in the system. So we can have colleagues, customers and partners all collaborating through the Insight system. And then we also have our artificial intelligence bringing value to that work and giving us much faster responses to things and perhaps more efficient ways of working. Next slide, please, Rod. So we talked a little bit about the data sources that we can have. So many of the systems out there, the Aviva's own systems, have built-in publishers that enable data to be published securely to the cloud. That data is published to our online Insight historian in the cloud. We have standalone publishers available as well, and those have been built by many companies in the industry. All the PLC vendors, for example, the DCS vendors, all tend to have their own standalone publishers. And then we have a REST API for you to use, and we have a software development toolkit. So the chances are that wherever your data is in your systems on your plant, we should be able to access that data and bring it into an Insight environment. Next slide, please, Rod. So overall, Insight helps us to empower safe and efficient operations. Up at the top left, you can see that we enable remote working, we enable team working, we help people make better decisions in the plant. We guide work execution by safely instructing operators and engineers in the first place how to access plant, by getting involved and helping with the lockouts and isolations that are required, and then by providing documentation and diagrams and so on whilst the work is being carried out. We're helping to enforce good safety rules, and we're improving job satisfaction for your employees, because increasingly they're able to work remotely, take decisions remotely, only travel to site when they absolutely have to and need to, and they're able to get more of the job done faster. And then over on the left there, we're talking about the skills for the operators and engineers. We can enhance the skills because of the training that we're providing through the Insight system. All of this is built on our 5 main technologies. We're using the Industrial Internet of Things. We're providing good visualization using digital techniques. We're providing an extended reality for operators and engineers. We're making good use of cloud technology, and we're applying artificial intelligence. Next slide, please, Rod. And these techniques have been used in many companies. We have many references that we can provide for you, but there are a couple of examples here. For example, Total using the predictive asset analytics from Aviva. We also have BASF, who standardized on the Aviva products on the next slide. Thank you. And we're around in many industries. And probably, Rod, it's a good point for you to talk about the next steps, please.
Thanks, Paul. I had to unmute myself there. So the journey to returns on investment is, as you can see on the left, and the briefing is where we are today. Maybe through the briefing, you would educate your team on the technology, discuss potential opportunities and apply it within your business. An opportunity assessment, so we would explore specific areas of improvement, implementation details, and the economic potential. Introduce a pilot, which is totally scalable as we roll it out. And for where we are today, within 48 weeks, you can actually have a system up and running. So a quick summary of what we've gone over so far this afternoon, quite quickly. Backlog management and planning is far more efficient if you know the plant condition. There are tools available to help you to do it. You can see all your current data in one place, enabling collaborative working and decision making. Remote uninstrumented plant can be covered by mobile rounds, which all feeds into the one place. Using artificial intelligence, we can display your plant condition derived from all your available data sources. As you said, we've can enable remote collaboration between operators and specialists, and early intervention planning and decision making to make sure your plant remains in use is definitely available here. So, any questions, folks? Don't be shy. Bring forward your questions. Monica, have you got any in the chat?
Thank you, Rod, and thank you, Paul, for the presentation. At this moment in time, there isn't any questions left in the chat. However, I'm sure there's going to be a few coming in, and just bear with me 2 seconds.
Hello. Should we write the questions on the chat, or you can just ask?
Well, you're speaking now, so go ahead and ask. But yes, also please, you can use the chat as well, whatever is more comfortable.
Okay. I'm Spusi Sone from Brandwater. So what I want to ask, we are looking into getting a system that is going to be managing our assets, the assets that we have in around Brandwater, to know how many SCADA systems we have, how many HMIs, all the assets that we're having, but mostly the automation assets that I'm talking about. Well, we can also include the electrical assets and all the other assets. But first, we're looking into managing the automation asset. So your system, when let's say we as a company decide, okay, we want to go with your company, right? So do you design one that is specific for Brandwater, or I don't know how can I put the question? Because if I want the system, there are specifications that I have that if you're gonna design a system for us, it has to have specifications that are tailor made for us, like for Brandwater. So I'm not sure how do you do that one there. I'm not sure if my question is clear though.
Thank you, Sibusiso. Paul, Rod, if you could kindly address, please.
Yeah, just 2 seconds. I've got a problem with my laptop. I'm just going to go on mute.
Rod, you want to kick off, please? Rod, are you on mute as well?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, can hear you, Paul. Usual technology issues. Apologies, guys.
Yeah, sorry, I've got 2 mute switches and it wasn't showing muted on my end. Yeah, all the systems we design are bespoke to the particular customer. We'll use whatever information you have there to build the system. But again, if depending on what you're looking for, there are other things we can do. This is just one of the tools we have in our toolbox. Today was dealing with about machine condition. There are other ways we can do it, other tools we can use to build whatever it is you want to do. For what you say, using electrical systems and everything else and managing it, yes, we can do that bespoke for you, but we haven't got time now to go through all full details, but we're more than happy to meet up with you outside this. If you want to send us a arrange a call. We can discuss exactly what you're looking for to move that forward.
Okay.
Thank you, Sibusiso, and thank you, Rod. Paul, were you wanting to add something?
I was just going to say, I'm very sorry, my laptop's just come back from repair, and I think the sound is broken. I was just going to say that the sort of assets that you're talking about there, in terms of the system itself, they could be relatively simply built into the system, and then add on to that the actual plant assets, the rainwater tanks, anything else that you're running with. So that you could look at, first of all, at the sort of automation layer, and then look at the plant itself relatively easily. And because it would be your operators and engineers that would use the system, they'd be able to extend the system. So Optimal could build it for you, first of all, and then it could easily be extended by your own people.
I can go ahead if no one have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I have just 2 points. 1 point regarding now you connected the system to the DCS or the automation system. There is concern that as per the new standard regarding cyber security. I think you consider that when you connected your system to the asset, correct?
Thank you for the question.
Cyber security. Yeah. Second point, what I wanted to highlight it, after COVID banning, for sure a lot of the companies have the backlog, but we, based on the criticality, what we actually updated every month, we identify the existing BM interval. It's actually can be extended, because actually based on the COVID issue, the backlog increase, but we recognize that the existing interval BM, based on the actual backlog interval, can be extended. Just at this point, I can share with those guys.
Thank you very much for that. Paul, would you like to address the cybersecurity element, and Rod, you can maybe respond to the second point. We may have
I'm not sure
lost...
if Paul might have lost Paul there. I'm not sure. To the second point, yes, you certainly do have monthly, in most places, idea of what's happening in your machine, but we're discussing here remote machines as well. And with this system, you get your operator going around on their daily routes 2 or 3 times a day, depending on their shift patterns, constantly updating the system and giving you the live information to make decisions on what machines you have to do and when. You know, if you've got a month between looking at the machine, for example, from a condition monitoring vendor, an awful lot can happen in the month, and you don't know about it until something goes wrong. But with constant monitoring and constant updating of the information, then you have it at your fingertips. Everybody does, because you can just pull it down out of.
Thank you for that, Rod. You've broken up slightly there as well, but I see Paul is writing up in the chat functions, so I'll read that out as soon as that's up. Apologies for any inconvenience. The usual issues with the network and Paul. Okay, Paul is going to try and rejoin us to see if that can sort itself out. In the meantime, is there any other questions? We will address the cybersecurity one just as soon as Paul returns.
Hello, Paul and Rod, it's Mike here. Not really a question, a couple of observations. Great presentation. I liked the aspect of remote working. One of the things that struck me is it drew a great analogy and parallel to how we've all become used to remote working perhaps in places we didn't expect to be working a couple of years ago. And I think what the great thing here was that the systems and the technology allow that collaboration to be preempting failures, plant degradation and so forth, which is great because everybody could be at various locations, but get together and get an understanding of what is going wrong on the plant. And I think the significance of that is that if you're in difficult locations such as offshore, remote plant, out in the middle of the desert or somewhere very difficult, I think there's a reluctance for frontline staff to mobilize maybe vendor support, OEMs, start purchasing spares and things like this until it becomes a serious problem. And I think people have a tendency to wait until it's really bad before they intervene, just to be safe, just making the right decision and so forth. It's a hard call to make an early decision and bring a plant into a shutdown because of a developing fault. So this enables lots of people to get together and make those decisions in a very rationalized and collaborative way. So I thought that was very good. The other point, just to add, one of the things I was quite pleased to see, the input of data from frontline in the field operators with our work in RCM and maintenance task derivation, preceding more formal condition-based maintenance. It's always good to see that frontline operator reports and checks being taken into consideration because they deal with defects and degradations, which again would subsequently become failure modes and breakdowns. So I thought that was good as well. But yeah, thanks, Paul. Thanks, Rod. Great presentation.
Thanks very much, Mike. That's the point we're trying to make, that you know, no matter where we are in the world now, we can very easily talk to each other. You know, the attendees here are scattered around a very big area, and we can share the information, discuss it, make it informed choices. And as you say, you know, if you wait for something to get very serious and it breaks, it can cost an awful lot of money to fix it. But if you see things starting to go wrong, you may take a little hit in your breakdown in your production line or your batch or whatever it is, which is a little bit more expensive. But a minor fix can keep you going for an awful lot longer, whether it be greasing a bearing that's running dry and making a lot more noise, or something's becoming loose, something's moved, misaligned. So a simple fix, taking a small hit, can save you an awful lot of money over the time. That's the point we're trying to make. So thanks, Mike.
Yeah, great, Rod. Good point. I think sometimes the term we've used before is a pit stop. So you can plan to do a pit stop. As you say, avoid the overall far greater consequence.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good. So I'm sorry about the audio at my end. Can you hear me now, please?
Yes, Paul, you're back.
Great. I think there's a question on cybersecurity that I missed while I lost sound.
That's correct.
Yeah, what was the question, please?
Well, it's just how the system manages those elements.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah, you would be speaking about ISO 27001, etc.
Yeah, so there are two elements to it. So first of all is the Insight application. The publishers push data out in one direction only. So you should be able to protect that against any form of incoming attack and so on. The mobile operator rounds application runs in conjunction with the cybersecurity on the devices, both on the mobile device that the person's using and the back-end systems that they're communicating with. So generally, the answer is cybersecurity is handled with Insight, with it being one way only, and the existing cybersecurity arrangements in the customer's estate managing that. And then with mobile operator rounds, it's managed by both the security that's applied to the device itself and the security on the back-end systems in the customer's estate.
Great, thanks very much for that response. Does that address the question that was raised with regards to the cybersecurity, or is there any comments? I do apologize, I would try to pronounce the name, but I do not want to make a mistake.
No, it's no problem. For me, it's my name was no issue. I think it's covered here, but honestly, this as per the feedback, most of the power plant, especially because I work in power plant, they have a high concern regarding cybersecurity. But I think as better the feedback what I have, I think it's okay justified about the requirement.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Would anyone else like to comment with a question? As I say, please feel free to unmute yourselves right now and just fire away, so to say, or pop it in the chat and we can cover it. We still have a little bit of time left for the discussion, so would appreciate any comments or questions you may have.
If no one have, I can share something. The same technique regarding the backlog management approach.
Yeah.
We make it manually in monthly basis, and we optimize around 35% from the total manpower cost, because actually we utilize the manpower as you highlighted in the presentation in the most critical system, most critical equipment, and the system makes this, but the system, it's for sure it's a more benefit because the system will make in hourly basis or in timely basis. But for us, we make it manually in monthly basis. For the just to share with the guys, actually in our plant we make this, and we optimize around 35% from manpower cost.
Thank you very much for that feedback. Sorry, Paul, go ahead.
I was just going to say that's a very good reduction. It's a good example of how that sort of optimization approach using the methods you explained work. The idea of the Insight and mobile operator tools to provide the information to you to allow you to do that optimization. So it's really good that you're using those kind of techniques already.
Thanks very much, Paul. Rod, anything to add from your end?
No, that's exactly what we want to do, but it can always be better, obviously. Yeah, it's great to see that you're doing this already. It's excellent for the savings that you mentioned. It's quite impressive, as Paul said.
Thank you, Rod. Okay, anyone else for a question? We have a few people from our own team here as well, so I'll just put forward a question to our guys here. Craig, would you like to provide any comment at all on the presentation and the topic covered?
Just that I think that it's really interesting to see the full capability of this kind of solution and where it can actually be applied in the field. So no, really good presentation.
Thank you for that, Craig. Alistair, you deal with a lot of PM backlogs, I'm sure, as part of looking into the maintenance strategies with the work that you're doing in South Africa. Would you like to provide a comment at all? I'm not sure if we can reach Alistair, he's still on mute. Okay.
Okay, should we move on to the next slide? And if anybody's got any questions, just going through the next slide, and please just sing out, and we'll try and address them.
Good.
Thank you, Rod.
I think Alistair is typing there, isn't he?
Yes, I can see that in the chatter.
Yeah.
More sound issues.
Yeah,
I bet we've all got the same update.
Yeah, I had mine this morning. So, as Monica said at the start, a link to this presentation is going to be emailed out to all the registered participants. Non-registered participants, just email me for a link to it. Monica's have everything all saved and the links to where it's going to be. Information is available on our website, www.optimal.world, and that will obviously be shared in the post email as well. There's an Aviva Insight data sheet you can see on the Aviva website. You can watch the video again, and there's a lot more information in there. There is a trial available of Insight on your equipment, and that can be switched straight into a commercial thing at the end of the 45 days, if that's, well, yep. I know that's it, because if you see it using it, you don't want to let it go after that, I can assure you. There's additional case studies and infographics available. Just email me and we'll get them out to you. And any questions, of course, email them in. More than happy to have a meeting or answer an email or have a discussion face to face through Teams. Both Paul and myself and the others, we're all here to help. That's what we get paid for. So thank you all very much. And if you get any more questions, please, we've got a couple more minutes, or we'll get back to your day.
Thank you for that, Rod. And yeah, I think that the key thing to highlight here as well is that technology is one thing, but it's always about looking at the actual data that's already there, looking at the strategies overall that are there, whether that would be on the actual maintenance strategy itself or looking at particular aspect of it, such as intervals, etc. We here as Optimal Asset Management experts cover that side of things fully. So not only are you getting a system in place, if that is a requirement, but you also get a review of your data through the expertise of the people that we have on board through our team of engineers. So I just wanted to highlight that as well. But other than that, yeah, thanks very much, Rod. Thank you, Paul, for a fantastic presentation. Hopefully that's been insightful for everyone who joined us today. Thanks very much for your time. And we'll look to build on the conversations that have been started here today and pick it up offline ultimately, but we'll share all the information that has been spoken of in today's webinar. Any closing comments from anyone, please feel free to add on. And other than that, we'll just close up in the next minute or so. And yeah, please feel free to drop a chat. Thank you, Mujib, there for your message. Okay, we'll not take up any more of your time. As I say, let's build on the conversations that have been started here today and take care of yourselves. And we'll hopefully see you in our other events as they come up. Thank you and goodbye.
Thanks very much.
Thank you very much, Monica. Thank you.
Thank you for all. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.